What up? This is Patrick Haize. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Now in this video, I want to talk about how to deal with negative emotions, how to deal with emotional triggers. And what I'm going to share with you today is a clip from an online private workshop that I did where I really expressed this in a very eloquent way. I feel like it really came through in this transmission. So I wanted to share it with you. But essentially what I'm going to go into is understanding from a bird's eye view, the process of overcoming triggers, but then also understanding some of the techniques that you can use in the moment when triggers come up to overcome triggers in a way that helps you actually process it and then move to a relationship to the particular stimulus where it doesn't trigger you as intensely and then eventually stops triggering you. And this is a really powerful place to get to because when we're able to understand the process of overcoming our triggers, then we can go around to all those different things that are draining energy from us in our everyday lives, all the triggers that are taking away from our highest vibration and our greatest expression, and we can start minimizing the amount of energy drain that they cause, and thus bringing more energy to the kinds of expressions and the kinds of actions that we want to bring them to. So, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm gonna turn it over to the video. Even when I'm triggered, I'm like, ah, and then it's like, I just like sit, and then it's like, well, I can still feel the beauty. I still feel beauty is there, even though I'm feeling triggered. So this is definitely an attainable place to get to. And the beauty of it is is when you have access to that, you're much less likely to make bad decisions from that painful space. Because essentially, humans make decisions from the state that we're in, right? It's like, when you're feeling really good, someone could give you bad news and you respond to it much better because you've already been feeling good. Where if a bunch of things have happened, if stacked, it's like the last straw on the camel's back and you're like, you lose it and you go into that unconscious state. It's the states that we're in that really determine a lot of the decisions that we make. So as far as making our life in the physical world more harmonious, that comes from having enough consciousness with us that we continue to take action in the world from the right space, that we are planting seeds in the world of a high vibrational nature that keep coming back as kind of like random surprises that bless us because we're putting enough good seeds out. And the more often if we get in a negative space that we don't make decisions from that space, but we're able to like have enough consciousness to like come back into the center and still make like the wise decision, then the less problems we run into in the world, or at least the nature of our problems change, and they become less. There's less suffering involved, and it's more of like a learning process, and there's more gratitude. So essentially, what I'm outlining for you here is a bit of what we're aiming for, and it's to make contact with your true self, and then let that true self radiate through. Now, the things that most likely, or the things that get in the way most commonly from us getting in touch with our I am presence, that true self, is our belief systems and our energetic like blockages. And so like the stuck patterns and beliefs that we have about ourselves, they continue to throw us into the drama of the world. And the drama of the world, the karma of the world, acts like a slow-moving teacher that eventually teaches us how to tune in to the I am presence by trial and error. Of like, you keep getting this physical, you keep running into the same like blocks in your world circumstantially and in your relationships that keep showing you areas where you need to essentially grow your love, or areas where you need to like become more accepting and bring more of your I am presence into your life. Where things change is when you start working with the world to make this process happen, as opposed to unconsciously letting it happen. So when you understand kind of what the process is, then you can start working on it on your own. And instead of keep running into the same problem over and over, instead of having really difficult situations kind of like slap some sense into you and teach you how to learn to love yourself more and learn how to accept things and learn how to be more your true nature, then what you can do is you can start expediting this process by focusing on love states, bringing those love states in, exploring them, then you're taking initiative in your life. And when you take more initiative in your life, then the mirror of the world doesn't need to hit you as hard and can give you more reflections that are more in alignment. Yeah. So this is kind of how taking action on this path starts to bring more stability and harmony into your life. Yeah. So a lot of the process is going. You're going to be going down and up. You're going to be getting into this high states, and then you're going to find yourself going unconscious, and then you're going to realize that you've gone unconscious, and then you're going to have, say, like a struggle to a certain degree with the gravity of the momentum of the downswing, trying to pull you into unconsciousness. And the challenge is going to be to be able to let go of that downswing and then choose to vibrate in a positive way despite whatever the outside circumstances are. And that's like, and then on the upside, it's you work to consciously stew in the high vibrational spaces. So some of the practices that I had given you before of like making contact, like to that space where you're feeling love, right? The steeping meditations. This is really important to cultivate. And there may be different ways of doing it, and I'll tune in specifically for you. But for me, one of the things that I did, well, there's a paradox here that really helps being able to stabilize. But I became and still am, I guess if you're going to use like psychological terms, I was quite obsessive about this high vibrational space. And I still am quite obsessed with it. If you were to look inside my mind on a regular basis, like what I'm doing, at all times, there is an awareness of how am I feeling right now? And how do I feel more love? Like focusing on things to bring more love, constantly focusing on it, obsessively. Like if it was about like shoes or something, I'd be locked up. They'd be like, this guy's psychotic about shoes. Like he only thinks about shoes. That's all he ever thinks about. It's freaking. But it's in a way, like what it is actually, like when you're like that, and it's succeeding for you, people in your reality, they really appreciate that because they can feel it in you. So it's not like, but in a way, it's like it's almost like psychotic, right? It's almost like psychotic the amount of like intention and focus I'm putting on it all the time. Now at the same time, and I say this because this is kind of preparing you for the kind of like dedication that it requires to start stabilizing this. Now on the flip side, if you get too attached to the idea of feeling happiness or bliss all the time, that attachment or that like, give it to me, actually gets in the way of it happening, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a paradox here, and it's it's about finding this center point between the paradox and surfing that. So it's like this. Inside my astral body, inside my etheric body, and inside my physical body, I can feel it tense up when I am focusing on bliss or happiness from a space of, I got to get that, like, give it to me. Right? Yeah. And I can feel the change in my body, like my head gets a little bit lower and I get tense, and I can feel the tension, right? So when I feel that, then the process is to then look at that aspect of myself. And well, there's a lot of different ways that I do this. So it's kind of hard to say it in one statement, but it's like, I'll say it like this. That bliss, that unconditional love, that's you. It's there. It's actually there all the time. And that's why when you try to grab it, it disappears, because you're trying to grab something you already have. So you're like convincing yourself you don't have it for a second. So it's more actually like relaxing into it. Yeah. And you can notice when you're relaxed into it and when you're not. And sometimes when you're not relaxed into it,
the tendency can be to like go and try to grab that relaxation again. But that's the opposite of getting into the relaxation, trying to grab it. So it's more like when I see myself trying to grab it, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, I already am it, and then I can relax into it more. So it's more from that perspective. But there's different techniques as far as using different perspectives that can help with that, like by being able to look at the different expressions of these compulsions and laugh at them.